How are
Oh, okay,
you?
there I am.
Hi.
I'm getting
Hi.
better.
Thank you so much for speaking to me. It's so
My
nice to see
pleasure.
you.
Is
I
it a
have to
little?
say you're looking fantastic from considering.
I've entered my skincare regimen again. That's when you know. I say when you're healthy enough to be vain, you know you're on the recovery.
Great. We love a bit of vanity. I'm really pleased. I'm really pleased. And we just want to say hello to everyone that's joining us and hello from London. Uh, we're going to cover lots of things this evening. The questions are flooding in. I've got a long list of things to ask you, Dr. Frank. But to kick off, can I just ask you, you're in Long Island, right? At your home in Long Island?
No, I'm actually in Manhattan right now.
Okay, great.
When I was at the I was originally in Long Island, where there's a little bit of a flare going on right now. Whereas different parts of New York City are calming down a little bit, there are other parts like Long Island that are starting to go up. So you're really seeing different hot spots. I came into New York City from Long Island because I really wanted to be close to my hospital. I thought I needed to go to the emergency room. Fortunately, it did not get to that, and I was able to go to my home quarantine, and I kind of MacGyvered my own home hospital setup.
Yes, I want to hear about the home hospital setup.
Yeah.
So tell me, okay, so you're on day 19 now or 18?
21.
Day
21.
21. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
and
And
I'm about 8 days, no fever, and I was finally able to get tested. I was too sick to get tested while I was sick, but I'm negative.
sorry, you're now negative. Well,
I
that's
know.
great to know. But as you were saying, I've been following you avidly, and there are some quite dodgy tests out there. I mean,
Yeah,
lots of people get some false negatives on their
absolutely.
tests.
Up to 40%, they say.
Yeah. So obviously, testing is a very big hot topic here in the
Yeah,
UK. A
yeah,
lot of people in the UK think that we have not been doing enough testing. I
yeah,
don't think this is because the government don't want to do it. It's just because we have a lack of tests.
absolutely.
And there have been some people on Harley Street, some private doctors who have at the beginning started selling tests for about £300,
I know.
hugely marked up.
We had
Someone,
that in New York. Yeah.
yeah. And so what is your advice for people that feeling anxious and want to
Well,
get tested?
I believe testing is going to be a very important part of getting us through this, but people have to realize it's not the end all be all. It is just a piece of the puzzle. We don't
Right.
have tests that are 100% anyway. So my advice to everybody is if you don't feel well, you have it. That's how
Right.
you have to function.
Right.
Truthfully, my negative test was more important than my positive test when I was sick. Because now that I think I'm negative, I can at least leave quarantine.
Yes.
I can get back out there. And the next generation of testing, which I'm sure you don't have either because we're still waiting for ours, are the
No.
antibody ones, the
Yes.
antibodies. And hopefully they're going to allow us to tell who's immune, who's not. And I think that's how we're all going to get back into the workforce. We're going to let the immune people come out first.
Yes. Yes. It's going to be very interesting to see how this unfolds.
Yeah, but I think people in the UK have to function like here, and it's not easy. If you're around someone who has been sick, or you yourself feel like you're sick, you really have to quarantine yourself.
Yeah. I'm just on lockdown here. I have two children, a
Yeah,
husband. We have just got a fridge full of food and we are
yeah,
staying at home. We're lucky we have a garden.
yeah.
It's been quite unseasonably sunny and hot
I
in
know.
London.
Here in
I
New
mean,
York.
London is the epicenter of COVID-19 in the
Yeah,
UK. But like you were saying, interestingly, the Midlands, the numbers are climbing. I mean, we've had a
yeah.
really terrible day today. We've had our highest ever death rate. We've had 938 deaths here in the
Oh,
UK
wow.
today. And yeah,
It was
so
similar for us. We had a peak today also, but oddly in New York overall, the hospital admissions and the intubations are starting to go down. You see, when you see death rates, as terrible as they are, they're often a reflection of the week before.
yeah, exactly.
With the
There was quite a good graph explaining that
yeah,
you can have a 2 week incubation period,
yeah,
and then this thing can run 2 or 3 weeks, and then you get the
yeah,
deaths. So
yeah.
what we're seeing
So
is actually
what we really want to see is a decrease in the hospitalizations. Now, just because things are decreasing doesn't mean that things are good, because the peak is still a bad place to be. You know what I mean?
yeah. So a lot of people, I mean myself included, I've been obsessed. I've been really worried about Boris Johnson. He's our leader.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know what it is. I've just been feeling so emotionally connected to wanting him to be better. Now they're telling us, so he's in intensive care, but he's not on a ventilator.
Yeah.
What people that get really worried. Hi, Teresa. So lovely to see you. And hi, my sister Izzy, just tuned in. What when people go into the ICU, I mean, how bad is it, do you think? And these ventilators, I mean, people say that if you get on a ventilator, it's pretty bad, and there's like a 50% chance of actually getting off it in one piece. What do you know about this?
Listen, I think traditionally speaking, we're not talking about COVID. In general, the longer you're on a ventilator, the worse your chances are. We don't have enough data about the experience of ventilation with COVID. We know that if you can maintain yourself with just pure oxygen, that you get through it. And I'm sure the Prime Minister, he's in an ICU as a precaution with a ventilator ready if he needs it. But my impression is that he's on high dose oxygen. That's what I did to myself, and that you have to let your body ride it out. And as scary as it is, if you have no predetermined illness, which I assume he was in a similar case, then the body just, you have to give it, it's time for the fight.
And so how can people get hold of, I mean, do you have to go to hospital to have this high dose oxygen? Can we buy something? Can we buy an oxygen tank?
You really do. You know, oxygen is something only that you can access in a doctor's office. Even a normal doctor's office, you won't have oxygen. Because I have a surgical facility, I perform skin surgeries and stuff, I was able to have it. So I'm not a great example. But if there's one tool that anyone that could have, it's the pulse oximeter. The pulse oximeter will tell you if you need oxygen. Because I will tell you,
this is measuring your blood oxygenation.
Yeah, it's battery operated, it's detecting your pulse, and it's detecting the amount of blood that's going to your organs. And right now I'm at 97%. Okay. 95 to 100 is normal. 90 to 95 means altered lung function. And under 90 is dangerous. Your organs are not getting enough oxygen, and you probably need external oxygen. So for a solid 5 or 6 days, I was hovering around 91 to 93. And at times I was 88, 89. And that's when I used the oxygen.
And so how were you feeling when you were down at 88, 89? Was it really difficult to breathe?
Terrified and short of breath. Terrified and like I consciously had to breathe.
Right. Now, I want to ask you, because I have had a question about this. J.K. Rowling, who wrote Harry Potter, did a Twitter post the other day, and I advise everyone to have a look at this. I thought this was quite interesting. Her husband's doctor had given some quite interesting breathing exercises to do if you have COVID, just to keep your lungs going. What did you think about? I
mean, that's smart. I mean, you know, people who are asthmatics, who have chronic lung diseases, are told to do these exercises. If you've broken a hip or you're bedbound in a hospital, you know, they give you what's called an incentive spirometer, where you're like, you try and lift the balls up, that little toy. So the more you do to move your pulmonary and circulatory system, the better you're going to heal, which is why, as a whole, this is not a disease where we have to take it passively. Once we are over that hump and we feel like we don't have fever anymore and we're not actively short of breath, it is imperative that all people who are sick start walking, start stretching. If you could only walk up one flight of stairs, walk up one flight of stairs. I felt like Rocky Balboa in Rocky 1 during his first workout today. I walked up a few flights of stairs. I thought I was going to vomit. But you know what? It's so essential to move the body to allow it to heal.
Yeah, and some people are saying also, if you do have a bad chest, to lie on your stomach, on your front, rather than on your back.
Yeah, you know, I think it's different for everybody. A lot of it really depends on your anatomy.
Yeah.
People who are more barrel-chested are going to be different. People who are more frail. A lot of people do well on their side, curled up. Believe it or not, for me in my worst times, I would fall asleep kind of partially upright, like I'm in a hospital bed. Truthfully, your body is going to tell you its most comfortable position. We're animals looking for the hot spot on the floor. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So there's no right or wrong. I think J.K. Rowling was very smart just to pass on that information, though.
Okay, great. And just talk us through for the people in England that may have not caught some of your earlier posts. What did you have going on for your home care? I mean, what supplements were you taking? What were you
Yeah.
eating?
Well, at first I was just battling the fever. I was like, oh, I'm going to be okay. I don't have breathing issues. It was too early. There were no stories out there, so I had no gauge. So really, I was just taking Tylenol and Advil every 4 hours because I was spiking 103 fever.
So that's
So
like paracetamol, people
yes,
in
paracetamol.
yes,
That's right.
yes.
And there was controversy about whether ibuprofen was worsening it. The controversy was debunked, but it's always best to stick to paracetamol because if you're going to have a fever for a week or more, anything else would upset your stomach.
Okay. Okay,
So
great.
I kept a lot of high caloric drinks around, like Gatorade, Pedialyte, milkshakes my children were making for me because you lose weight. Everyone loses weight, and it's not the good weight. So you really want to keep that calories and the hydration coming in because breathing problems also come from dehydration.
So for people in the UK, things like Lucozade, that's like sort of like a Gatorade,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
high energy drink would be a good, just stock up
Yeah.
on those sort of
Things
things.
with electrolytes in it.
Yeah,
If you can get on Amazon or any retail site, you can still get these oximeters. This is something you should
I'm
keep in your
getting
home.
one. I'm getting
Yeah,
one.
even if it takes 2 weeks to get, who cares? They're available. You
And
may have to wait.
what about thermometers? Is there a good brand of thermometer that was?
You know what? I probably had like 10 different ones. I have 2 children, so we live on thermometers. I had oral ones. The ear ones are supposedly the more accurate.
Yes.
So I used that, and like an obsessed doctor, I was checking my pulse ox and my temperature every 15 minutes for 12 days.
And how did it affect your sleep? I mean, could you get sleep at night, or were you just
You know
lying
what?
there?
I slept the first 3 days because I was spiking such high fevers, and I was truthfully a little hallucinogenic. I was delirious. Once I started having the breathing problems and the anxiety, I was sleeping 2-3 hours a night for like 10 days. It was very, and that adds to the anxiety, which adds to the breathing. When you fall asleep and you're consciously breathing, you wake up in this like little gasp.
Right.
So it
Scary.
was really tough. You don't want to take sleeping aids though.
Okay, no sleeping pills. No.
If this is a big question.
Melatonin is a no-no.
I would not take anything that could potentially slow your breathing.
Okay.
When you have, if you're not having breathing problems, you could take sleeping aids. I would say if you're going to take a sleeping aid, take a antihistamine.
Yeah. Hi, Monty. Monty just wanted to hold up and repeat the name of the finger oxygenation.
It's just called a pulse oximeter.
The pulse oximeter. Okay,
That's
from
it.
Amazon. Okay.
Yeah, I mean any brand.
Okay, so we're going to load up on calorific drinks. The healthier side of things. I mean, would making fresh smoothies be a good thing to do?
I mean, that'd be great if you have someone to do that.
Right.
You really have to be on strict quarantine.
Yes, of course. Now tell me, so what would happen? So your wife, obviously, you said she's tested negative, and your 2 kids.
Yeah.
When they were collecting your food and stuff, what did you do? Would you just tell everyone?
What I was doing, anything that I couldn't dispose of down the toilet or down the sink or whatever, I was really, I was putting in a plastic bag that she left by the door. Yeah. And then what would happen is she would then come once the door was closed with a mask and gloves and put a second bag on that. And then she would put it outside.
Okay. And in terms of masks, have you got hold of any good ones? I
had access to N95 masks because I keep them in my office anyway. Mm-hmm. But I really think unless you're working around actively sick people, you don't need an N95 mask.
Okay.
It could be a scarf, it could be a bandana that you made. If you happen to have access to just a plain medical surgical mask, unless you really know you're working around sick people, leave those N95s to the healthcare providers.
Yeah, and I want to say hello. Dr. Tamsin Lewis, Sporty Doc, has just joined us.
Oh, great.
Tamsin is one of the leading doctors here in the UK. She has a great company called Wellgevity that gets people on some really great fitness protocols. This is in normal times, but she's been helping out a lot of people with supplement programs. She's had it really badly for about 3 weeks. And she was saying that one of the things that she wanted to tell everyone is, don't over push yourself. When you feel better, she felt better on, I think it was like day 15, and she went for a walk in the countryside, and then she said she went right back to the fever and feeling terrible again. So I guess there is a balance to be had here. Obviously don't want to be lying down, but
I didn't do any physical activity other than stretching for at least 5 days fever free.
Okay.
At least 5 days. I didn't wait 1 day, 2 days. I did 5 days fever free. And then again, you know, I walked a block first.
Yeah.
Then I walked a quarter mile. And again, don't get me wrong. These are still challenging exercises, but you have to find that balance. Now at day 8, no fever. Now I feel like I could push myself a little bit more.
Okay. So how long do you think you're going to get back to feeling normal?
Well, you know what? If you Google recovery from pneumonia, bacterial pneumonia, they say it's 1 to 3 months before your exercise tolerance is back to normal. So I don't know, you know, unfortunately, you know, I'm a native New Yorker. I'm used to my brain writing checks my body can't cash. You know what I'm saying?
We love New Yorkers. That's why we love you guys.
We love Londoners.
Yeah.
But that's really where it is. My mind is so busy now trying to help, trying to engage, and trying to get myself healthy so I could help even more. And, you know, you just have to listen to your body. Everybody is different. The common cold reflects in different ways. So does this.
Yeah, so sorry, I'm just going to go back because we have a few questions. Marie wants to know, should we take vitamin C and D?
You know what? I'm not generally a supplement person. I believe in a healthy diet, but there's no question you're losing weight, you're losing water, your electrolytes off. They absolutely can't hurt. My wife was dropping off vitamin C, vitamin D. You could take zinc also. Supposedly zinc is helpful, but you have to be careful because it can mess with people's stomachs. And a lot of people are having GI symptoms. A lot of people are taking antibiotics like Zithromax we use here in the United States.
Right.
And that causes diarrhea and stomach upset. There are people that are vomiting. So you got to be careful with the supplements and not to overdo them too.
What are your thoughts on the hydroxyquinone, the anti-malarial drug? Is it a safe drug for everyone to take?
You know what? Okay. Ironically, it's a drug that is used there are certain dermatologists that specialize in skin diseases of autoimmune. So it's not a uncommonly prescribed drug in dermatology or rheumatoid disease. The problem is that, you know, we're waiting for data. I took it, but I didn't take it until day 12. And you said it could have been coincidence, but your fever left after that. My fever broke 24 hours later, but that could have been my time. I was I was really just afraid. I wasn't really thinking clearly in many ways. You know, I took a Z-Pack starting on day 6 because I've done that before and I figure it can't hurt. But I was really nervous about taking the hydroxychloroquine because you didn't know the interaction with the antibiotics. You didn't know if it was going to suppress your immune system because it does control the immune system. I was really expecting more data to come back, and surprisingly, we still don't have it.
Yeah, I mean, someone said that they got low blood pressure and developed tinnitus after taking it. So I guess it's potentially a helpful drug, but it might not be safe for everyone to take.
Yeah, I don't recommend people taking it on their own. You know, a lot of people are getting it black market. They're fine. I mean, there were cases of people that were taking it because it was in their fish tank cleaner. They saw the active ingredient, and two people died in the U.S. because they were taking it as a commercial product used in the fish tank.
Oh my gosh, that's terrible. Okay, stay away from the fish tank cleaner.
Yeah, stay away from the fish tank. But in general, if you really feel like you're at a point where you need to take something, you have to really speak to your doctor. I wouldn't use myself as an example of being cavalier with oxygen and things like that.
Out of everything you did, was there anything you would have done differently when you were going through COVID?
No. The only thing I would have done differently is I wish I would have told people earlier. I really didn't come out until day 12, 13. I was very scared. I didn't have a point of reference of other people going through it. You assume there were just two types of people who got a few sniffles and people who were like debilitated with predetermined illness and died. You know what I mean? Now we know there's so many people.
I
So I
guess
wish I,
when it
I
started
wish
out,
I,
we sorry.
I could hear you.
No, I just think when this started out, people, you know, thought this was like for older people age 60 plus. But I definitely, I'm 45, and a lot of my friends have been hit hard by this. Dr. Tam is saying that the hydroxychloroquine has definitely helped her chest symptoms, but it worsened her muscle weakness, and it gave her hyperglycemia and tinnitus. Okay. And then someone else has just added, a doctor in Holland has cured 5 people with a medicine. They're doing really well in less than 5 days. The people were over the age of 65 and older. That's interesting. Another doctor here has said, why are people against homeopathic treatment? I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
I don't think we're against it.
No.
I don't think we're against homeopathic treatments, but I think they have to be used in conjunction with evidence-based medicine also. I mean, we'll take all the help we can get, right?
Yeah. I wanted to just ask you, sorry, going back to the anxiety as well. Is there anything that you did to combat the anxiety? I mean, can you give any advice on if people...
I mean, other than, I was in my daughter's bedroom, so other than squeeze her unicorn a lot, I really...
I hope you didn't... how old is your daughter? You could have read her diary and that would have been...
I know. She's 12. She's 12.
Okay.
I'm sure she took that with her. But no, you know what? I really, I try, you know, I do transcendental meditation. I do it twice a day for the last 7 years.
Great.
I really couldn't meditate, believe it or not, because every time I got into my head, I was focused on my difficulty breathing. It was very difficult to meditate. What I did was, other than trying to just watch TV to take my mind off of it, I listened to audiobooks of people that inspire me, like Gabby Bernstein, Deepak Chopra, and I really just tried to listen and distract myself.
Deepak Chopra has come up for a lot of people as being very, very helpful during this time.
Yeah. Well, he's pretty prolific. He's pretty prolific. Yes.
And okay, so sorry, I've got some more questions here. Sure. Okay, so when you're having coronavirus, obviously you're not feeling like doing very much, but would you say it's a good idea to stay away from things like active skincare? And how did your skin feel? Were you very dry?
I was mixing between being frozen cold and drenched in sweat. You know what I mean? I wish that there was a skincare regimen that would have made me feel better. You know, I did whatever I could, honestly, to just groom myself as much as I can as a sense of normalcy. You know what I mean? It was almost an exercise in itself. Yeah. So shaving, putting on moisturizer, and just like putting a brush through my hair, to me, that was therapeutic, you know?
Okay. And what about, do you have any good hand cleansers or moisturizers that you could recommend for people? I
mean, really, I think I was just using the Dove soap that was in there.
Okay.
I don't think a brand matters. I think as long as you do it for 20 seconds, you know, you have to be cautious out there because a lot of people are overdoing it. They're using they're using like the detergent soaps they clean their dishes with. They think the more harsh it is, the more it's going to do. My office is getting phone calls every day with people with dishydrotic eczema or dishpan hands. You know, they're getting like blisters and rashes and itchiness because they're scrubbing themselves to death. So, you know, don't forget, you can wash your hands, but people can't overdo it. You know what I mean? You can't scrub this virus off your skin.
Yeah. It's interesting. I wanted to ask you, I mean, when we do go back to normal, how do you think, you know, this is going to affect your business as a dermatologist in your clinic? Are you going to be practicing? I mean, it's quite hard to say, but...
You know what? It's actually not that hard to say. I opened up my practice 20 years ago, 1 month before 9/11. I opened up my clinic.
Wow, okay.
And I will tell you, for several months after 9/11, myself and my peers, we were convinced that no one would ever want to do things as of vanity again. They were unnecessary. And as you know, in 2001, that was the boom of so many things cosmetic. I could honestly say, as bad as it is right now, I am so confident of human nature that we aspire towards normalcy, and we aspire to feel good about ourselves and look good about ourselves. And I think we're going to come back ferociously to real life.
I love you, Dr. Frank. That's so great. I mean,
it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be in stages. But, I laugh and roll my eyes at the same time. People are calling every day. They want Botox, when they get their liposuction, when they could do this. And they honestly, people want to get back to life.
I hear you. I run a business here in the UK where people come and see me when they want to know where to go. They're a bit confused. They want to know which doctor to go and see. And I hook them up with the proper person for them. And I've been doing, last week, I've been doing a few consults, and people are just saying, when are they going to open? I
mean, people are like, I have the time. Can I do that? Can I do that laser that I haven't had time to do because I have no, I mean, shocked how people are coming out of the woodwork. On the last week of work before we closed down, I had to slow down the people in the office. It was crazy. And, I'm not trying to say that people are vain and silly. It just means that people want to live their lives. And I think the next list you're going to have to get together is the doctors that that are immune first.
Of course, absolutely. Yeah, you hit the nail right on the head. I'm working on it already.
Because you know what? The more people we get out there that are immune, it will create herd immunity, and it'll allow us to all go back. And I honestly think it's going to take until the fall until everyone is back out in the workplace. But that's okay. It's going to go quickly.
And before this happened, we're going to go a little bit into the aesthetics, because after all, that's what you do. That's what I'm involved in. What were you getting excited about? What were people asking for? Was anything coming out that you were excited about to give us all hope at the end of this?
Yeah. At least in the U.S. and in New York, body is the new face. So many technologies and techniques are coming out now to deal with skin on the body. And whether it's cellulite or stretch marks or problems with pigmentation or tightening the skin, we have new technologies now to actually help build muscle mass. And, there's a lot of square footage on the body. It's not just the face anymore. So that's really where I think a lot of the technologies are going.
Great. Well,
another big thing is a lot of this. I don't know if you're having this in the UK. There's these like bespoke skincare technologies.
Yeah, lots of them.
Where really it's not just questionnaire based. People will be able to come into a doctor's office and do like laser tests for pH and sebum, and then get their own customized clean skincare. I think that's going to be a really big thing for us all.
Absolutely. I mean, there's also a big movement about, I'm not sure how convinced I am about it, but there's a lot of DNA testing going on, and then customized skincare. I think your approach sounds much, much more scientific and effective. But yeah, I'm so looking forward to a time.
Thank you.
I came to New York just before this happened, and I know you were in Miami because we were meant to get together for a podcast.
Yes.
But I will come back, and we will do this podcast, and we will talk about all the great things that we can do to make ourselves look better.
That's right, and feel better, and just feel better. Because truthfully, when people look good, it makes them feel good and function better. And we all need that little quick fix right now. It's not just, it's a psychology as much as it is about the physiology.
Yeah, well, I just can't thank you enough. You've really lifted all our spirits.
Thank you.
And please keep posting and sharing all your knowledge and information.
I will.
We love you in the UK.
I can't wait to meet you. And all my best and prayers to your Prime Minister and to everyone at home.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. And good night, everyone. Take care. Bye.